In today's video, I'm going to be showing all the drawings that we did in 2024. And I'd like to give a big shout out to all the supporters who have been supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me to see the channel grow. I can't believe that we're actually growing a little community here. So thank you again. And at the very end of the video, I got a nice little surprise. So if you hang out, I really appreciate it. But enough of me rambling on. Let's just get into it. To kick off the year, the very first drawing that I did was actually a redraw. The original drawing was a drawing I did in 2020 in my sketchbook. And in 2020, I did a daily doodle challenge where I did a drawing every day for a full year, filled up 4 sketchbooks. I made a video about it. If you want to learn more about that particular project, the link's down below. But when I went ahead and did the redraw of this particular piece, I wanted to incorporate this big nose. And this big nose is one of my favorite characters where I like to draw. And I'm basically just highlighting someone who knows it all and is kind of blind to seeing the truth or seeing anything else from what they actually know. And that's why this character will always have a big nose and a white eye. But in this particular drawing, I kept the core elements with the jaw and the tongue and something coming out of the mouth. And I also try to keep the colors more muted and more of a dead feel, like this person's kind of dead. More like if they're dead inside and like they're having this weird, Grim Reaper creature coming out of them. That's kind of what I was trying to go for in this particular illustration. Hence is kind of why he's got like a skull. It kind of looks like the Grim Reaper, but he may not be. That's really just a short recap of the first drawing of the year. And as we move on to drawing number 2, this will be real quick. It's just a skull that's trying to be an ice cream cone. We got some jimmies on there and we got a nice little crown. Nothing too crazy, nothing too special, just a skull, some jimmies on there. If you want to see all the drawings that I did in 2024, you should follow me on my Instagram account at NoahForArt. That's where I'm pulling all of these drawings from. And I'm trying to go in chronological order from when I posted these. So if you already follow me on my Instagram account, you've probably seen these drawings already. And the next drawing we have is a mason jar with a skull in it. This is actually from my first YouTube video, it might be, or at least the first YouTube video where I talked in. I asked ChatGPT what I should draw, and it told me I should draw a postcard and a mason jar. If you want to see more about this particular project, you should go see that video. I'll list that video down below. Not really a finished drawing, but it is a pretty clean, tight sketch, if you ask me. And as you can see, we have a nice little devil head. Ain't nothing too crazy here. We got some drips. He might be in some pain, but we got a third eye that's just chilling. We also got a skull with some fire at the top. I really try to pack in as many different elements as I could in this particular piece, while also trying to experiment with this nice color gradient. I really like doing this, and you see that on a lot of my pieces where I'll do a color gradient with a really nice soft color shift with a hard shadow to add in some more depth and some more shadows. And now we have 3 different drawings. I do have to say these are probably one of my favorite ones of the whole year. Person on the far left, he's fighting some inner demons, so much so that he's not even the same person. He's just a shell, and the demon's actually just appearing more and more, so much that it's poking out of the side of his head, the horns. And, we've probably met people like that before where we known them at one time and we saw them change, and now they're just like a shell of themselves. Person in the middle, someone who just listens to the big nose. And as we said before, the big nose knows it all. So that way, why question the big nose? If big nose tells me, I listen, But they're just so into whatever the big nose says that they become disconnected from their own body. They're more than likely disconnected from reality and have no way to, connect with anyone outside who doesn't listen to big nose. And then lastly, the third person is more or less a sheeple. What I would imagine what a person is when they're sheepos. Sheeple is just someone who just follows the crowd like sheep. They just kind of don't make anything up for themselves. They just go with the flow. That's kind of what I think about the sheeple. We all came across someone in our life who probably fit in one of these 3 categories. And I can even say I've met someone from one of these 3 categories too. And these are probably one of the more rare instances where I put a lot more meaning or deepness to my drawings. Like you just saw, I did a handful of drawings for no rhyme or reason, just because I can. There's really no thought behind it. But this is one of those rare cases where I actually put some thought behind it, and there's like an underlining theme or underlining meaning for it. Let me know if that's the kind of stuff you like. I thought about doing more stuff. I have a lot of stuff in my bag that I'm thinking about drawing next, but I kind of like going down this weird avenue where my illustrations have a deeper meaning than just because I could draw it. That's kind of how a lot of my drawings started. I could draw it, so I drew it. Not much more than that, but yeah, that's it for these 3 for the whole year. Just nice little set. And now we have a skull with a band-aid. This is a completely different art style than what you guys are used to seeing me draw. But I wanted to try something different to see if I can actually draw outside my comfort zone. And you'll often see that from time to time where I'll get bored of drawing the same kind of style, the same kind of thing over and over, and I'll just do something off the cuff and try to see if I can actually do a different art style. Sometimes I don't share it. Sometimes I just do it for myself as a nice little fun exercise because the finished piece is not shareable. I would say it's not polished enough for other eyes, I would like to say. But this is one of those rare instances where I tried something new and it came out and I was like, I can share that. That looks pretty good. Like I said, it's rare for me to step outside my comfort zone, but when I do, sometimes I get good stuff like this. And you remember when I said I'll just draw stuff because I can? This is one of those instances. I did this because I can. There's really not much more behind that. There's no deeper meaning. There's nothing to it, but I do like the shape of this and I do like the gradient and the lighting of this. That's really all I gotta say about it. It's just, it is what it is, you know? Might be a little dark, but it is very colorful and soft, you know? Let's move on to the next one now. Oh yeah, we got that snake oil that fixes all, cures all. Nah, I'm just kidding. It doesn't do any of that. This is actually one of those redraws of a redraw of a redraw. Like I said, 2024 is the year of the redraws. So the drawing on the left is me redrawing an older drawing that I did a couple years ago. And all I did was just refine the line work, ink it, color it, and throw it in that great program, Illustrator, for the typography because I can't do typography inside Procreate. Either I'm really bad at it or the program just sucks at it. But whenever I want to do typography, I throw it in Illustrator and I do my typography. If not, I'll do it by hand, as you can see on the one on the right, where I actually called it Snake Sparks Oil. Play on the fact that there's lightning in the bottle and there's a snake oil. While the one on the left, I just call it snake oil. And another fun fact about this is one of these drawings, I looked at a snake and the other one I didn't. I'll give you some time to take a guess. All right, you ready? The one on the left, I did not look at a snake. I just drew it from memory. The one on the right, I was looking at the snake and I redrew it. The one on the right, I think I redrew that earlier this year, probably around like October. The one on the left, I did that probably around May or April. I think I drew that one. So I redrew the same drawing within the same year because I wasn't happy with the results. I couldn't stand it. It didn't look like a snake and it felt like very cartoony and kind of gave me like a Futurama vibe. Which don't get me wrong, I like the Futurama, but I don't want my illustrations to feel like you can relate that to another cartoon series. I try my hardest to make sure that my style is my style, and the second I feel like my style looks like something else, I probably won't share it. Like I try to do something else. Now, there are times I draw Pokemon or I draw Simpsons stuff like that, but when I do something pure creative and it looks like it could be in another TV show or it reminds me of something else, I don't probably share it. I try to redraw it all over. I would be really curious to hear what y'all's input is on these two drawings. You guys prefer the style on the left or do you guys prefer the style on the right? And also, could you tell that I didn't look at a snake when I drew the one on the left? And as we continue, you'll see I drew a chicken just because, and I drew this airhead character just because. And you start to see that I start packing in more of this teal blue into a lot of my illustrations. At this point in 2024, I was kind of obsessed with this color palette. So I would just use this on a lot of my illustrations. This is also before I started committing to coloring my line work. Both of these illustrations have a black line work. Now I'm just going to commit to coloring my line work. I think that looks more cleaner and more polished than having a black outline around everything. There are times I think it looks good, but I'm leaning more towards changing my style a little bit and just removing the black outline and actually applying a color to it instead. I also took a stab at drawing the Joker and Batman, like half and half, but also wanted to throw like a skull version of this, throw some drips instead of having some hair. The whole Batman Joker art style is one of my favorites. I don't often do it a lot, but I do draw the Joker later on. You guys will see that. Spoilers. I do apologize. My idea was to do like a skull and crossbone and then intertwine Batman and the Joker. I think overall it came out pretty well, especially trying to squeeze in so many different elements that actually resonate with those two different characters. And as we continue, we got Burger Boy. This is like an iconic American cartoon that used to be around. I don't want to say cartoon. He was more or less a billboard for selling burgers. I think he was called Burger Boy. I always thought it was kind of funny that they just had a giant like statue of a guy holding a burger. So this is what I was drawing. I was just redrawing that and then having it melt. Any reason? Nope, no reason. It's just because I wanted to draw it. And now we come across an old character of mine I used to draw a lot, this cube head. And I used to always draw this particular person with a hole in their head. It was someone who was like thinking outside the box. That's why it's a cube head. I don't really draw this character anymore. The one thing I do, call back to this character a lot is in a lot of my drawings, you'll notice that I give my characters square hands or square fingers. And that is to, symbolize or show that that particular character is a square. They're kind of a normie or a loser or someone who's just a square. It's kind of what that was back in the day, or that's kind of what people refer to like you're a square, you're not cool. But I always include three fingers. And a lot of my illustrations, I do three fingers. I don't do four, I don't do five, I do three. The reason I do three is because of two reasons. One, when I was doing the daily doodle, I had to get faster. How do I get faster? I sliced a finger off. Not mine, my illustrations. If there's one less digit for me to draw, that's one less thing for me to focus on, I can get done a little bit quicker. The other thing on why I do three fingers is because it breaks that norm. We're always used to seeing cartoons with four or five. We rarely ever see a cartoon with three. And if we do see a cartoon with three fingers, it's because there's some kind of alien or some kind of creature. I wanted, like I said, I really wanted to make my own style. And I want people to know that when they look at a drawing that I did, they can say that's Marvin. And that's another reason why I double down on just doing the three fingers. If you ever see my drawings, you'll always notice I only do three fingers. And I always try to make them hands square shape, square fingers and square hands. If I bring back this character, I might, but the square hands, square fingers are kind of like a reminder of what I said earlier about being a square or being a normie or someone who's just not thinking outside the box, too. And what we have next is some half-baked ideas that I never finished. They were just ideas that I thought that would be good, but as I was working on them and going, chipping away at it, they just never fizzled out to be anything good. But I thought that it had pretty good line work, and I figured I'd just show these because I did post these. Sometimes you have, a good idea or mediocre idea, and you get like a decent sketch, but you don't do much with it. So I figured I'd just share it. The one is just a plug with like a skull and crossbone on it. It's also a little skull plug. And then the other one is actually a spray can with like a head with like a skull coming out with a tongue. I don't know what I was going with these. I just was drawing them. And I think I stopped and picked it back up and lost my train of thought. I'll get that from time to time. And that's why you'll see those insane scribbles on my shorts where I just draw over and over and over because I often forget where I'm at when I'm drawing. I put it down and pick it back up and I lose my train of thought. That happens so many times. I can't tell you. I lose track. So if you're ever wondering why I have so many scribbles at the beginning, it's because my brain is either racing or I forgot what I was working on in that particular drawing and then I just start over. Now remember the three illustrations I was talking about earlier? The one with the devil, the big nose, and also the sheeple? Well, this was going to be the fourth one in that same series. I just didn't think this was going to actually fit properly. It is something like I was beating a dead horse. And I didn't really want to do another one of those three. I wanted to do like something totally separate, but it still fit in. So I kind of just stopped this drawing altogether, didn't make it past this sketch. I figured I would throw this in here to show you guys what I was thinking if I was going to make that series larger. This would have been the fourth. I don't know what I would have done for the fifth, and I don't know what I would have done for the sixth or the seventh. I would have kept it going. I would be interested to hear your thoughts on this particular piece. Is this something you want to see me take it to finish? Let me know. I'd be curious. And now we have some Marvel characters that I was drawing. On the left, we have Wolverine, and on the right, we have Wolverine. We also have Cyclops and Storm. I just sometimes like to break the norm and just draw little heads from, comic books. I thought this would be kind of neat. I don't know if you guys noticed, but on comic books back in the day, and actually they still kind of do it, they have the little head in the top left-hand corner of like the block. It tells you like the issue and all the fun information about your comic. They would often do like a head illustration of that particular superhero. And that's kind of where I was drawing these little heads from. I was just kind of thinking of what that could look like if they had like an issue with 3 or 4 of them. I never went and did more superheroes to fill out that one on the right. I just wanted to take a stab at doing 2 different styles, like more of a comic book style and then also more of like a cartoony, like my own little flair to it. I don't normally do this kind of stuff. I don't normally do comic books, but I wanted to take a stab at it to see if I could even do it. I think that looks like Wolverine. I think that looks like Cyclops, and I think that looks like Storm. In my book, these are pretty good, but these are just sketches. They're not really finished pieces. And yet again, we have another funny little sketch. This is kind of what I thought if Mario actually became a little pizzeria and he actually just made pizza. He might be like an angry little Italian man who made pizzas. I know it looks nothing like Mario, but I guess it could be. It's just a little angry guy who's making pizza in his boxers. Made me laugh when I drew it. Like I said, there's nothing to it. It's just a funny little cartoon I thought I'd throw in here for the hell of it. Now, this was a fun one to work on. It's just the Ninja Turtle heads just ripping apart a pizza. And if you look closely, the pizza is actually a manhole cover. It's got the manhole pattern on there too. You know, that little grid pattern. I remember working on this. I thought this would be a fun one. It took me a while to work on. This was one of the longer ones it took me to do in 2024. I know right off the bat, it took me a few months to work on this. And my thought behind this was that maybe I can make it into a poster or some prints or maybe throw it on a hoodie or a t-shirt. But in all honesty, I never did anything with it. I just drew it, posted, and that was really it. It just kind of lives online. I'm not too sure what I'll do with it next, but I have a print ready file for it if I want to ever print it, and we have a digital copy for it too to send out. I'm not too sure how many people know about the Low Roll Club, but this would be my design for it. You know, just a skull, crossbones, and it's on one. Low roll club is when you get one on a critical roll and it just does no effect on what you're attacking or you get the blunt of it. That's just my design for it. I originally did this before, and my original drawing of this was actually a thicker line work of the same concept of the skull and the dice head. But I just wanted to make it thinner and also make it more readable of a dice and also of a skull. So yeah, this is my design for a low roll club graphic or image that could be used for something. One of my longer drawings of the year was this skateboard design. It started off as this little sketch, and then I built off of it, just seeing where it would go. And then I thought of just making it into a skateboard design. Having my illustration be kind of empty in areas where the trucks would go, but still have the artwork still be red. Was kind of like a tricky thing for me to figure out as I was just working on this illustration. I actually made a whole video about how I created this from scratch and I actually went ahead and ordered it from board pushers. And I actually have a sample of that skateboard, what it actually looks like. And if you guys want to learn more about the skateboard or pick up board yourself, the links will be down below. This was my first skateboard design that I actually ordered for myself and I actually got a hard sample of my artwork on a skateboard. I've done skateboard designs before, but never actually put them on a board. So I've always just done digital mock-ups and whatnot. So this was actually my first time going through that whole process. And then I did a couple more this year. I didn't order those. I just ordered this one, but we'll see the rest of them as we go through this video. So this is right around the time where I started adding a third eye to a lot of my illustrations. In this particular one, the arrow just missed the third eye. Another thing, if you can look at it closely, you'll see my tag. I hid it underneath the eyeball. That's something I like to do is actually hide my tags within my artwork that I'm working on. This is just another quick little fun one I did, messing with gradients and shadows. So this is just a little Halloween devil guy dressed up with a mustache. But if you look again closely in the mustache, you'll see my tag. At this point, I'm starting to mess with different line colors too. Like you saw before, I had colored the line work. This one, I just did everything like this brown line work. And then I also started messing with some kind of noise and some kind of texturing on my illustrations. Something I didn't really carry throughout the whole year, but that's something I probably want to do more of next year is adding more textures and adding more depth to the illustrations themselves. But just a quick little devil guy. Now, these two were done around the same time. They're just quick little sketches. On the left, we got the skull with the third eye. I was thinking it'd be more of a cowboy illustration. Never really finished it. And the one on the right is someone who's working on a fast food joint and dealing with the headaches of being at fast food joint, irate customers. That's kind of what I was drawing there, but I never really flushed out these ideas. I just thought they were kind of cool little sketches, so I threw them in this video. Now we have a skull that's wearing a jacket that says No Face instead of North Face. Outside of that, there's really nothing more to this drawing. It's just a skull wearing a jacket. It's got a little green beanie. Trying out some other different elements I can draw. I don't really draw a lot of jackets, but I do draw a lot of skulls, and it's just a different illustration style of drawing a skull. It doesn't have the big cheekbones. Yeah, it's just a quick little drawing of a skull wearing a jacket. Now we have Mario being shot in the mouth by Bullet Bill. I wanted to draw something with more of a, I guess, a darker tone, but I also wanted to challenge myself to see if I could draw like sweat or like a water or drool. And that was kind of why I was going with this particular piece, trying to see if I could actually mimic or show that illustration of like drool. So I figured this would be a good way to showcase that and try to exercise that. So I just kind of saw this as a little fun exercise drawing. But yeah, it's just Mario getting shot by a Bullet Bill. This drawing is just someone being abducted by aliens, and they have a little bong and a beanie or a ski mask, actually. And I tried something different with doing a more of a gradient color in the middle and just kind of playing with different shades of that. And then you kind of see the color of the more of the illustration when he breaks that boundary of the beam. But yeah, this was another one I wanted to try, just doing everything like more of a monochrome color and trying to give it like that glowy effect. And I tried like some kind of different designs on the side, which I'm not too sure now, but looking back on it, if I like that or not. But on the sides where it's like kind of broken up. Maybe if I do this again, I'll take a different approach on the edge of the beam so it's not so uniformed and hard compared to the rest of the illustration. It just doesn't look like it fits, to be honest. That's kind of why I'm looking at it now. I'm thinking that it could be better. This is Mimikyu, and I drew this on stream one night when I didn't know what to draw. So I grabbed my cards, randomly picked out a card, and it happened to be Mimikyu. Kind of started the whole picking a random Pokemon to draw on stream. I kind of started off with this one, and then over time, I would just pick out 5 or 6 cards out, put them on stream, and then let you guys pick a card, and we would just draw it for that night. If that's something you guys like, let me know in the comments below, and I'll start that back up in the new year where I'll just pick out 5 or 6 cards. We'll just start picking random cards to draw. But yeah, this was one of the first random cards that I picked out and I started drawing, and that was just Mimikyu. 2 more drawings that I did around the same time, but have nothing in common except for that background. The one on the left, I thought of how cool would it be to have someone's head pop off with like a row of teeth all the way around. And then the one on the right is just a profile drawing, I guess you would call that. Really not much more to the one on the right. The one on the left is way more interesting. And now we have Majin Buu ice cream. I like drawing these ice cream characters where I would take a character and like make him into ice cream. I was doing this for a little bit this year too. Yeah, Dragon Ball. I watched a lot of Dragon Ball earlier this year too, so you're seeing a lot of my drawings. I just draw a snippet of Dragon Ball real fast and then I continue with something else. But this was actually one I actually took to finish, and it was just a Majin Buu ice cream. Now, one of my favorite drawings to redraw over and over is this Slurpee skull. I originally drew this back in 2020 in my sketchbook, and then I think almost every year, almost every other year, I've drawn this, and I feel like I keep getting better and better at redrawing this. As you can see, these are all the versions I've done over the years, starting from 2020. The first drawing I did of this in Procreate was actually just a one-to-one copy of what the drawing was in the sketchbook. The next one after that, I tried to add more depth to it, which I think is actually taking a step back. I did that one. I really did not like that blue or the angle of that cup. It really didn't read right. So when I drew it again, I made sure to look at a Slurpee cup. And this is when I talked about earlier about reference. When you look at a reference, you make sure drawing that much better. When I drew this, I was actually looking at a Slurpee cup to make sure I had it right, trying to get that little lip. And when I still look at this, I still see areas that I want to improve on if I redraw it again. But at least now I know my concept and my idea for my sketchbook to now what I have is a huge leap from my drawing ability. And like I said, if you just keep at it every day, you'll see your drawings get better and better over time. I can't wait to see what this would look like when I redraw it again for a 5th time or a 6th time. We have Spider Marv. This is right around the time when I started trying to incorporate the little Marv mask or that little Marv character into different superheroes. Also wanted to draw a full body for once, which I rarely ever draw, but this is also another little fun exercise on drawing proportions to make everything looks right if I was to draw like a full figure. And that is something I want to work on, is to draw more full figures. I don't think I draw enough to be good at drawing full figures. So whenever I get the opportunity to draw them, I try to look at as much reference as I can, but hope in the new year that you guys will see more full figure illustrations from me. Now we have Batman with and without his mask on. I just thought it'd be kind of funny to draw Batman, if he was from the hood, if he's a little vato, a little cholo, one of his little homies. One thing about this particular drawing is that I hid my tag within the mustache of this illustration. And I think I drew the one on the left first, and then I thought it would just be kind of funny if I can throw the Batman character in this. And you can see I'm messing with a different style of a nose in this one, but it's still very boxy and square. And the fingers themselves are still square. And once again, we only have 3 fingers. If there's something I would want to come back and work on this particular drawing would have to be those fingers. They don't really look right to me. I want to work on that a little bit more. And also like the whole elbow joint that looks like he's broken. But overall, it's just a fun little quick drawing I did this year. And as we continue, we have a Joker. I did this drawing around the time that the new Joker movie came out. I remember doing this. I'm not a big fan of that new Joker movie. Sorry if you are. I just personally don't like musicals. But the first Joker was spot on. I love that first Joker movie. But this was a quick little drawing of me drawing the Joker. Kind of go hand in hand with that Batman drawing we just did. Now we have more Pokemon that I drew on stream. We have Vileplume, Mudkip, and Oddish. And at this point, I was actually taking cards and we were picking them out for stream. And at one point, I started taking requests to draw Pokemon from memory, where I wasn't going to look at them, no reference. The drawing above Mudkip is actually my first attempt at drawing Mudkip from memory. Oddish, I drew that from memory. Thought that was kind of decent. I was way off on Mudkip. Then I looked at Mudkip and then drew Mudkip, with a reference. This was all done on stream when I was just drawing Pokemon. And now we have 3 more drawings of Pokemon that I did on stream. Once again, I would lay out my cards. We would pick, which cards to pick at random, and we would just draw it. It's nice and easy. I can just stare at the shapes and just follow the shapes and just copy what I see. I'm looking forward to doing more of these streams in the new year where I lay out my cards and I let chat pick a card at random and then we just draw that. So let me know in the comments below if that's something you guys want to see more of. Now we have 2 more Pokemon I did on stream again. Bulbasaur and Lapras, but in the Bulbasaur one, I actually hid my tag in that smoke. These were actually from 2 cards from Vintage set or the 90s. I want to say it might have been Jungle or Fossil. I know the one on the right is Fossil. I think Bulbasaur is from the Jungle set, but once again, these are just 2 more drawings that I did from those Pokemon streams where I would just pick out a card. Now we have a Tiki mask that I drew earlier this year. This was also something I wanted to do that I don't normally do, which is, do masks like Tiki mask, samurai masks. I don't normally draw that kind of stuff. And I also don't normally draw like a wood texture either. I was really stepping out of my comfort zone when I was drawing this. And then I went back and added like this nice little glowing green effect coming out of the mouth and the eyes. I also took this drawing and made it into a skateboard design. I don't believe I have it up on Board Pusher, but here's the mock-up of the skateboard. And it never got further than just a mock-up on a skateboard. I never ordered a proof for this, but I just thought it'd be kind of cool to share what I was thinking about this project and what I thought it could look like if it was on a skateboard. This is actually skateboard design number 2 of the year. And that would lead us into our 3rd skateboard design of the year. Ice Cream Skull Rocket Pop. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that name or if you guys call them the firecracker pops or the bomb pops, but basically it's just an ice cream popsicle that had red, white, and blue. I did the same design aesthetic of that, but I just changed the ice cream into skulls. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to do with this particular piece. I drew it on a larger size because I wanted to make prints, which we do have prints. And those prints are at norfordart.com. And I also wanted to make it into a skateboard, which that skateboard design is actually at Board Pushers. I'll draw the links below for everyone to go look at, but here's the mock-up of that skateboard design that I did for this. And typically, if you see me do a piece that's larger than what I normally do, like that perfect square ratio, I'm probably going to end up using it for something else. I'm planning ahead to scale this artwork up, so I'll do it at a larger size. We have another quick little drawing of a bomb trying to light himself on fire, and you can see there's a skull in that flame. Nothing too crazy going on, just a quick little drawing. I don't believe I did this on stream, but I did post it, and I'm pretty sure you can find this short somewhere online, whether it's on YouTube or TikTok. Now we have our Warhammer dumpling. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, you guys know this about me, but I'm a big fan of dumplings, particularly Sealand Bao's. Soup dumplings are like one of my favorites. I even like Shanjin Bao's, pan-fried dumplings, but you'll see from time to time, I'll draw them in my drawings. And at this time, I know I was playing Warhammer, and I think I might have just wrapped it up when I started this drawing. But I don't know if you guys have played Warhammer. Fun game. I like it, if you haven't noticed. I just thought it'd be cool to play as a dumpling in Warhammer. You go into battle, you have sriracha sauce on your back. Yeah, I just thought it'd be kind of funny. So yeah, that's just a quick little dumpling drawing. And you'll see more dumpling drawings throughout the year as I draw them. Now, this is one of two hoodie designs I did this year, but all my hoodie designs and all my apparel designs that I start off, I always start them off in a pencil sketch. And then when I have an idea of what I want them to look like, I just work in it in that way. So, as an example, I wanted this to be a one color on a black hoodie. So when I was done the line work, I made sure to only work in a one color line work and then use the black as being the hoodie. And the only thing I was really drawing was the white line work. I did that for both hoodies that I did this year. And if you want this hoodie, it's actually at noahfordart.com. And when I was done my actual illustration in Procreate, I took that from Procreate and moved it into Adobe Illustrator, where I did the typography and cleaned it up. I did this quick little skull and crossbone for the front half of the hoodie because I knew what I wanted for the back. I just didn't know what I was going to do for the front. And once again, I did that in the one color so it would match the back. If you have questions on how to make your own artwork into, apparel or how you can reuse your artwork and print or anything like that or how to set it up, let me know in the comments below. I'll make a video on how to actually set your artwork up for print if that's something you guys are curious and learning because that's something I know how to do. And now we have four more Pokemon that I did on stream. Once again, I was just pulling out random cards and chat would pick out which cards we were going to draw. They didn't know what cards I was going to pick. And you can see the one drawing I have Diddle on there because I thought it'd be kind of funny just to make it a Diddle face. It's just 3 lines, 2 lines for the eyes and 1 for horizontal mouth. It's kind of a cop out when it comes to drawing Pokemon, but I just thought it was kind of funny just to leave it. I remembered on this particular stream, the stream went down twice, I believe, if not at least once, but I got it to come back up. It turns out something on the back, and I had to check a box or something, and YouTube snagged me at the 2 or 3 hour mark of me streaming. But it came back up within like a few minutes after it came down. But it was a good stream. Like I said, we got 4 Pokemon drawings off of that one. Looking to do more in the new year too. Now we move into our Longhorn drawing. I believe I did this on stream too. Can't really remember. At least I did part of it on stream, but the background's a different approach of me than what I normally do on backgrounds, where I did a bunch of little scratches or doodles in the background, and then drawing more of the figure on this particular drawing too. So it stayed with like this weird square aesthetic that I like to draw a lot with my characters. Yeah, just a typical Longhorn rocking out with his t-shirt and a crown. And now we have Halloween candy that I drew earlier this year. This was actually from the Halloween stream that I did this year. It was actually on Halloween where I just sat down and drew pumpkins. I drew some ghosts. I also drew these candies. We got a Reese's, we got Kit Kat, we got Crunch, we got Lollipop, and we also got that candy corn. Everyone loves that candy corn. But yeah, these were just some quick little doodles I did on Halloween. And now we have another dumpling drawing where he's actually fighting shrimp fried rice monster that took out his buddy on the floor right there, another dumpling person. Like I said before, I like drawing dumplings, making them fight or making them do whatever they can do, but trying to give them some kind of personality. And in this one, he's holding chopsticks like he's about to fight the shrimp fried rice monster. And now we have a mushroom samurai. If there was a mushroom samurai, this is kind of what I think they would look like. The mushroom cap is actually a skull out of those white dots on his head. Yeah, this is a quick little fun doodle. I had fun making this one, a little samurai mushroom guy. On this next one, it's just kind of dark. It's just a head splitting with a skull coming out of it. And I wanted to give the effect that they're being surrounded by a lot of people, or like they're in a crowd. And that's kind of what this rough sketch is supposed to show. Never really finished it, but I thought it was a really cool sketch to show my idea, my planning of what this could have been if I continued this drawing. And now in these next 2 drawings, we have a bird that's shivering, that's holding a knife. And then we also have a snake with like a third eye. And this snake also has a lightning bolt for an eye, kind of playing off of the whole snake oil drawing that I did a while back. And then there's just a playful bunny in the background where clearly you could see the snake's trying to be a bunny. These were just 2 fun little drawings I did. Really nothing more to it. Just 2 quick little fun drawings. 2 different styles too. The other one on the left with the bird, I tried to do like a shivering effect. I think it came out all right. I still would like to make these a lot stronger. And now we have a devil character that I drew. I was thinking this person being more of a punk rocker devil, but he also has that same concept that I had in another drawing where this full head is a head of teeth. So you can see how his head, pulls apart. Maybe when this one talks, all the souls come out that he swallowed. Maybe it's like a soul eater demon. I don't know. It's just kind of create this character on the fly, just kind of mess around with what I could draw. But I was thinking it'd be more like a punk devil kind of a character. And now we have another quick doodle, which is Burger King. Burger King was a mobster or Burger King was a big burly person, this is what I think Burger King would look like. It's all about the dollars, but he reps the Burger King merch, as you can see on his shirt, covered in stains, covered in grease. But yeah, this is my Burger King character if he was actually like a mobster or some kind of a villain in a series. Now we just have a quick little fun playful doodle. It's just a head with a little devil creature coming out of it. Nothing crazy, nothing special, but what you can see here is that I started coloring the line work more and more, and I'm making that more of my style where I'll ink it and then I'll color the line work that I inked it with to match what I'm doing for the whole color palette. These two pumpkins I drew on a Halloween stream, I just have this out of order, so nothing's actually in order. I started off in order. Somehow down the line as I'm recording this, I messed up the order, but just know that I did these drawings the same night that I did the chocolate skull, the chocolate candy skull drawings. These are all from that same live stream. And the one on the right is what I ended up with the live stream with, or it's what I did on live stream. The one on the left is what I did after the live stream was over. And I kind of posted that on after Halloween. I think it was November 1st. I posted that just to show like Halloween's over, pumpkin's crushed, the ghost is coming out. The one on the right is the pumpkin carving its head, and then it has a body of candy. Like the whole body is a bag of candy. But yeah, I typically I've drawn that pumpkin several times before when he's just carving his face out. So I wanted to try something different, which is why I went to drawing the candy skulls, which we saw earlier. The next 9 drawings are actually a series of drawings that I did. They're all redraws, drawings from my old sketchbook that I did in 2020. I'm working on a larger video on explaining how I did all this and my thought behind all these little drawings. So in that longer video, look forward, I'm going to be posting that in January. But I'll go into detail about each of these 9 drawings and how I came up with the idea of what they're doing in all of them. Overall, I wanted to redraw all 9 of them and make them all look like they're from the same set, same series. And I tweaked some of the colors. I made the drawings a little bit more dynamic and a little bit more interesting. Overall, it makes one giant print. And that was my goal, was to make one large print. And here's a mock-up of what that print looks like. And I'm still waiting for my sample of this print to come in. And I can actually put that in the video that I'm working on that talks about all these 9 drawings, and I'm going into detail about them individually too. I don't have enough time to do it on this one, but if you guys saw the live streams, you guys saw me drawing these for a while. I was drawing a lot of them. But yeah, these are the 9 drawings that actually make a series. And this hoodie design, I had a lot of fun drawing it. I think I've started part of it out on stream. And when I originally started it out, the pencil was going to be a sword. I didn't really like how it was going. So I changed it. And then I found this quote, and I thought this quote said a lot about my kind of artwork, which is, art is not what you see, but what you make others see. And that's kind of how I look at what I draw. I really want the focus to be on what I create and not who I am. Always been my focus, and it's always going to be my focus. Is I would rather have people looking at what I create and not looking at me. That quote kind of like, resonate with me a little bit. And I wanted to find a way to tie it in with this illustration. And I thought it'd be neat to have it go up and around and have this, intertwine with the back artwork. And then on the front of the left chest, we have a smiley face that's kind of like the skull and crossbones, but instead of the crossbones, it's actually cross pencils. I thought that was a nice way to tie in the back to the front with the little pencil accent. But yeah, this was just our second hoodie design for the year. And if you guys want to get this hoodie, it's at Northford Art. And now we have another Spider Marv where I drew the whole figure and he's also fighting Venom. I was working on this and actually tidying it up on live stream. And as I was working on it, I kind of like the sketch more than I do the finished piece. So I've never shared that finished piece at all. I've just shared this sketch, which I think I like more than I do the finished piece. But yeah, this is my idea of, Spider-Man was wearing the Marv mask and he had to fight Venom. This is kind of what I think it would look like. Once again, I'm drawing the whole figure. This was a little bit more challenging for me because I had to draw the whole figure and figure out the proportions and actually think to draw for once. And it was a little bit of a challenge, but it was just a fun one. And this is something I'm going to be doing more of in the new year. So I hope you guys like this. There's going to be a lot more of this style coming up. And now we have the pumpkin spice craft beer. I wanted to make this crazy looking pumpkin skull, and I thought how cool would it be to have this on a craft beer label. That's what this whole fake project was for myself. I made a whole video about how I did this. If you want to check that video out, I'll put that down below, the link. But just a quick overview, I went ahead and drew it, and I designed the beer label, designed a fake logo for it, and then here's the can, what it would look like on a mock-up can version too. So in that video, I show you how I do it from start to finish, and I even show you how I make my own mock-ups too. But yeah, this was a fun project I did earlier this year. It was one of the longer ones that I did this year, but it was overall a fun one to work on. Like I said, I don't ever really take my illustrations and incorporate them with my design that I typically do on a day-to-day basis. So this was a very unique one for me to work on. Now we have a big nose character. And this whole drawing right here is actually a redraw from memory. I drew this a long time ago. I can't find the paper, but I remember I drew it on a ballpoint pen. And in my original drawing, I actually have a body floating into his mouth and not a little boat with a Grim Reaper. But if I want to come back and redraw this again, I think I would want to make it more darker, actually add a little bit more texture to the big nose, maybe make it more of a stone texture. Overall, I think this is a pretty good illustration, and it's a really good way to go from here, if I want to like do more work to it, essentially. This was also one I did on stream too, when I was just drawing it from memory. We have two quick little doodles here. One's just a little bird with a scarf and a beanie, while the other one's just a goat out on the golf course with the flag, just trying to put that flag somewhere. I thought they were kind of funny, so I figured I'd throw them in this video. They're not finished, nothing crazy, just two quick little doodles. And here's another quick drawing I did. It's just a head splitting with the skull in the middle. We have a ghost leaving. Nothing crazy. I have the nose upside down to show that they stick their nose up at people. That's kind of why I draw the noses upside down sometimes, to show that character is, I guess, snobby, or showing that that particular drawing sticks their nose up at other people. And that's typically why you'll see me draw the noses upside down sometimes. It's just to show, a personality or a personal trait of that particular character. I'm just trying to convey that, in another way. And the last drawing of the year is Santa Claus. I've been so busy these last couple of weeks. This video might come out later than I wanted it to. This last drawing is actually Santa Claus. I don't have to tell you what it is. It's just Santa with rotten teeth. His brain has holes in it. His brain is happy, but yet it's melting and it's just got holes in it. He's got rotten teeth. His beard's like all falling apart. He's got like dead blue skin. And it's the effects of, well, I don't gotta say, it's just the effects of what happens if you don't make good decisions, I guess, or if you make poor decisions. Or this is me showing that even Santa could, have those kind of crippling effects happen to him too. I'm trying to talk in a way where YouTube doesn't like flag this video, because I can't particularly say what that is right there. If you know, it's just say it's a smoky lollipop, I guess. That was the last drawing of the year. It was actually the last illustration I did. I literally just finished it like a couple days ago, and I'm still recording this video right now. But if you made it this far in the video, I got some really big news for everyone. Right now, as you can see, these are my two redraw characters for the book that I'm working on right now, Mike and Ty's Adventure. I'm currently working on that right now, and I just wrapped up what I think the new characters will look like. I'm going to be making more content for this in the new year, probably towards the end of January, sometime in February. I'll give everyone an update on this book and on this big project I'm working on too. But if you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate your time. And you should go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that bell for notifications, so that way you get more videos like this. If you want to stay up to date with whatever I'm working on and what I'm doing, you should follow me on all the other platforms. That'd be at Northwood Art on everything. The shirt's Northwood Art. I'm sure I'll come up on one of those platforms. But until next time, I'll see y'all. Bye.